that would
Close
mean
down some nice shit.
I need to. Oh, I need to mute you. Don't start playing yet. Thank you. Do a quick refresh. Double check all my stuff is still logged in because it likes to log out. You're logged in, right? Yeah. You're logged in like a snap train. A T-board. Yeah, we good. We fully logged in. Except there's a commercial on my freaking... Uthgrad is here already, of course.
Mm-hmm. He'd be sleeping on the couch if he wasn't.
Oh. That would be unfortunate. Oh my gosh, did you see the new Lego Destinations game?
No.
It will have Doctor Who in it.
Mm.
Totally stoked. When I saw
Meh.
that. Oh my no. I am
I've
very
never
excited.
watched it.
That is unfortunate for you. We all have our faults.
Well, to be fair, I've only seen like a quarter of a season of Dexter. I've never watched Breaking Bad.
What's
I've
Dexter?
Never watched the it's about a serial killer.
Oh, that sounds positive and upbeat.
I've never watched other than 20 minutes of Walking Dead.
I tried that. I tried to. I watched the first season, but just could not get into it. Like I had to force myself.
I never watched Game of Thrones.
Either have I, as we found out last week on the question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't watched many of those either. I'm more of a sci-fi guy. So like Under the Dome and Defiance. Most of these things people have never heard of. I started getting into Fringe. That one's a little fun. So, you know, there's some good ones out there. 5 minutes till the live awesomeness begins. I'm realizing that the Emerald Dream forums are so much more active than just about any other forum I've ever visited in game. And it blows my mind. Like, luckily I've bumped the LoreCraft podcast post on the Emerald Dream one because it had gotten down to like midway of the page. Well, I hadn't bumped it, but some people bumped it. But on Moonguard and Warm Rest Accord, they're still near the top. I'm like, cool. Buttery. Toffee. Did you listen to Realm Maintenance podcast from last week?
Oh, yeah.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I was like, the minute it went live, I was like, ooh, schnazzer.
It took me a day because work this week has been, as we'll talk about a little bit here, has been nutso. But
I feel you on that. I want to punch my boss in the face.
Oh, which reminds me, I won't be able to talk tomorrow night because tomorrow, like, as I was telling Varg, I go in tomorrow morning. I got to be there between 7:45 and 8 a.m. And I don't come home till I'll be back home at 1 a.m. Saturday morning. I sleep in the theater from Thursday night into Friday morning.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I go. This only happens, twice a year. For these 2 weeks that I do this camp, but because it's an hour and 10 minutes away, I don't want to drive home at, I'd get home at like 1:30 a.m. and then have to be back there at 7:45 a.m. Just doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, understandable.
So starting next Thursday, but I mean we already have next week set up, so we're kosher for next week.
Oh yeah.
But starting next week, then on Thursdays we can chit chat, which is actually I think turns out to be better than Tuesdays, because then we're prepping for the next week.
Yeah, For me, it's debatable because even though it's illegal here in my province, my boss has the lovely habit of, I'm not going to do the schedules up until 2 days before your shift, or in our case of, it was Saturday and we just got our shifts for the next week, and I've repeatedly stated you can't do that. Just flat out, you cannot do that. So the only rule of thumb is I get Wednesdays off.
Well, it's a good thumb to have a rule on.
But I made that a big stipulation. I was like, I cannot work X, Y, and Z anymore.
X, Y, and Z.
Tough banoogs if you want me any other time.
All right, folks that are in the chat, we'll be starting up in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go time for tonight's version of the LoreCraft podcast. Woot, woot.
I want to make this fiery, but this is being difficult. Don't mind me, guys. I'm mumbling to myself while I putz around with this AFK image.
I've decided I'm hungry now.
I had a big bowl of Kraft dinner with peas and corn in it. Yum, 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 yum.
I thought you were going to say a big bowl of I don't know what I was going to say now. But it didn't sound like Kraft dinner initially. No. See, my mind's going out.
Every time you eat mac and cheese, you're eating something Canadian.
Well, unless it's homemade mac and cheese.
Nope. Mac and cheese is a Canadian thing.
Right, but like if I'm
like
making
Hawaiian pizza isn't
Hawaiian pizza.
Hawaiian.
It's not Hawaiian.
Canadian.
It's weird, is what it is. It's a manifestation of ham and pineapple on a.
It's disgusting.
on a saucy crust.
I do not like Hawaiian pizza. I hate it.
See, I always dream about Hawaii when I eat it.
No. My dad's a fan of Hawaiian pizza. I hate the shit. I don't like cooked pineapple. I like to eat it raw.
Oh, I like pineapple regardless. Give me some pineapple, yo. All right, you ready to get this thing started? It is 10 o'clock. That means it is time. Here we go.
Welcome, friend, to the LoreCraft podcast.
And welcome once again to the LoreCraft podcast. My name is Machik, your fun, furry, fabulous Tauren druid. And with us, as always, we have our green-eyed, raven-haired blood elf hunter, Yamino. Say hi, Yamino.
Aha.
We are back again this week after a very, very, I would say, eventful week. We were just recently featured on the wonderful podcast called Realm Maintenance. And if you are listening to us for the first time because of that, I want to thank Ro so much for having us on there. It was a fabulous. I mean, I've been listening to, as I said on his podcast, I've been listening to him for a while now, but it was really enjoyable joining him on a podcast. So had a lot of fun. And we talked about a lot of different things on that podcast, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. It still amused me greatly, though, how the whole thing came about. Because he whispers me in game. So, I've been listening to that podcast you're doing. And I'm like, oh? And he said, I quite like it. Oh, really? And then not even 5 minutes later, there's a group DM by him, me, and the LoreCraft podcast saying, I want to feature you guys on Realm Maintenance.
Well, the good news is I quite like it too. So it was, it was fun though. It was fun chit-chatting with him, and he does a top-notch podcast. So if you're one of our listeners and you and you want to keep up to date on what's going on in Blizzard gaming and a whole host of other things, make sure you check out him. It's Realm Maintenance Podcast, and he has a website. I think it's realmmaintenance.com.
Or just follow Realm Maintenance on Twitter, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's realm-maintenance.com. That's his website. All right. Well, like I said, we're on to another week here, and as always, in the top of the show, we like to chit-chat a little bit about what we did this past week in game. And, Yamino, I'm going to let you start out this week.
Not a whole hell of a lot, really. Like, I went through and got, like, the toys I wanted from Midsummer Fire Festival. So, that was fun. But,
Which toys did you get?
all of them.
Oh, wow.
The ones I was missing. Because I have no other purpose for... No word of a lie, I have no purpose for any of the other holidays, except when they've added the new crap in. Like, I didn't get everything from, the Valentine's Day one because I needed that stupid scepter that you need, like, 50 people to hit you with. I was like... I'm like, where am I going to get 50 friends?
Well, you purchased them on eBay.
Forever alone. No, so, and then, like, with Children's Week, I had everything already, and then Midsummer, I just needed some of the new toys, so when the next one rolls around, I think it's, like, Pilgrim's Bounty or something?
That's the next holiday? That's not the next holiday.
Oh, no, I'm getting confused, because we have our Thanksgiving before you guys. No, Hallows End should be the next one, then.
No, isn't... Oh, no. Yeah, Brewfest is before Hallows End, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, by, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I need some stuff from Brewfest. I don't know if I still need that stuff from Hallows End. And I think that's about it, really.
Nice.
But other than that, hit level 70 on the little Blood Elf Paladin that I'm trying to twink, so... Yay! Nice. 10 more levels to go!
Yay! No, that's good, though.
And then I get to cap my XP and just grind Lich King heroics.
Oh, see, I like Lich King, so I'd be happy with that. If you said Cataclysm heroics, I would be crying on the inside.
Yeah, I have a level 85 twink mage that's literally just sitting there.
Just chillaxing.
Because I'm like,
yo, dog.
I can't bring myself to do that shit. No, Kata, all the horrible memories.
Oh, I know. Well, I've actually not been that busy this week because of work. The one thing I did do is I did find a home for my Alliance tunes where I'm going to be leveling Alliance, and it is Moonguard. I now have a level... Oh, my dwarf is something like 33 or something like that.
If you make any Draenei tunes, I can get you a guild. Cuff, cuff. I sound like a drug dealer saying that.
Right now, we're really focused on the Dwarven thing because I'm leveling with Varg, who was on the podcast Roundtables several episodes ago, but we've always wanted to. There's a very strong Dwarven guild on Emerald Dreams. We wanted to kind of play Dwarf. Oh, so I'm level 30, but I went female shaman, okay. And she's adorable. I just want to hug her because she's the cutest little thing ever. But it's nice doing the Alliance, because it's been a while since I've done Alliance quests. It's nice doing the Alliance side things, although with the heirloom gear, you tend to level it fairly quickly. So, you know, we skipped a lot of the starting couple of areas because we just kind of blew through the levels. I mean, it's worse with Raph, but yeah. So I started leveling a dwarf and a night elf as kind of a side project over on Moonguard, and I'm excited. We're trying to get up to like 60, and then we'll kind of bop between RP and leveling until we finally get to 100. But I'll tell you what it did do for me is it brought me back into the game. Like, I once again looked forward to playing the game because I've been so kind of like meh this X pack, and I think part of it's the X pack itself, but part of it is I just needed something new. So I was stoked. It's nice. And Moonguard's a nice little server. I don't know. You play Draenei on it, right? I mean, not like hardcore, but
no, we're still working on leveling and that, and then going through that. I play it with Oos, my boyfriend. So
and this is something really cool, right? Okay, so it's been a while since I've leveled a toon from 1. And I've always been on Emerald Dream, and Emerald Dream has always been fairly packed. Like you don't run across a lot of cross zoning things because we always have too many people in zones anyways. But I'm leveling, right? And I hit a quest as a dwarf in at level 11 or something. And I'm sitting there and I'm playing, and I actually have to wait for mobs to spawn. And it is because there are so many people there leveling toons. And it blew my mind away because it has been a long time since I've had to sit and wait for mobs to spawn while I was leveling.
Oh, God.
No, but it was cool because it was like, whoa, there are actually people playing again. Because, you hear all this, WoW is dead, WoW is dying. But no, it was the complete opposite experience. I was like, holy cow, there are people actually playing this. Now, Moonguard cross realms with Wormrest Accord and a couple of others. So, that's what I was running into, but yeah, sorry. I got real excited because I'm leveling a toon and I'm excited about leveling a toon. So
oh yeah, I always say to people, if you're getting bored with the game, level a new toon.
Yeah.
No word of a lie. Level from 1. Level a new toon.
Word of warning to those that are visually watching us. You see, this week I have my goatee beard for kicks. Well, it's all gone next week. It removes. What happens is when I finish a theater show, I shave my face. So, teardrop, it all goes away. So,
yeah.
All right, so that's what we did this week, which is, a lot of fun. Again, if you haven't already checked out Realm Maintenance, great podcast already, and we had a lot of fun. And let's jump into our next section.
And now it's time for Fantasy Fables.
Every week, I scour the internet looking for some sort of roleplay story that I can share with you that is based on the World of Warcraft world. Oh, that was silly. On the World of Warcraft and its lore. And this week, I came across a story from Luthen on the Emerald Dream server. And the name of the story is called Obligations. And good news for those that have been wondering, yes, it is indeed an alliance story. So here we go. Reagan Luthen braved Frostfire's frozen snows, sleet barraging his black leather. It seemed as if the sun had retreated permanently from the desolate, yet somehow remarkably beautiful wasteland, where the nights were merely a long, macabrely majestic veil hanging in perfect contrast to the pounding weather. His thoughts, as they usually tended to be as of late, lingered on Luna Aberil, who presently rested soundly in her makeshift hunting grounds. Truthfully, when he arrived there with her, he expected little more than a single hut, covered by cleft hoof fur at best, although she ceaselessly amazed him with her capabilities. Slipping into an Arctic canyon, he absent-mindedly worked around the sharp rocks. Their honeymoon had likely been the best week of his life, although the statement was hollow considering since his incident in South Shore, he had known little more than betrayal, murder, and self-indulgence. Not that he took issue with any of it, of course. The two former linked to the latter, and the latter had previously been the only reason to linger on the treacherous planet. Until now. He valued Luna beyond her physical abilities and assets, to the surprise of a handful of his harsher critics. While they were certainly unignorable boons in their relationship, her truest value was her ability to accept who he was, what he was, and what he did. Whiffing the Arctic air, he paused. No sense. Not an animal, a night elf, or even an orc. And that bothered him. Instantly, he leapt to the side as a dagger bit into the rock. Deathstalkers. If you want to find out what else happens to Reagan Luthen on this adventure, head over to thelorecraft.com/obligations, and that'll take you directly to the Emerald Dream Realm forum and this post. I like the writing style of this one this week. Descriptive. But then again, I'm always a big fan of anything that has a lot of descriptors in there. It helps, from my point of view, it helps imagination.
It helps you create the vision in your mind.
Yeah. And of course, Deathstalkers. I loved it. I actually read a bit more into it. It's a several post one, so I didn't get a chance to fully read it because this week's been nutso, but it's a good little story. It's a line space, so some of you hordes might prefer it that he just died, but that'd be like, ouch. All right, so this week we are talking about something near and dear to our hearts: the old gods, which are gods that are old. For those that may be fairly new to lore or don't realize it, the old gods have been around a long, long time. In fact, they pretty much helped to create Azeroth. I mean, not physically, but create the early instance of what Azeroth was. Though not the first inhabitants. Right?
Not in a sense. They ruled Azeroth before the Titans arrived. And when the Titans arrived, they're like, we need to snuff out these guys. And then they realized they can't. Because if they were to kill the old gods, they would end up destroying what little life had been created on Azeroth.
Kill all the old gods.
Yeah, and the old gods, some of them are responsible for the Curse of Flesh.
Yes. Which
turned the Urdhrin and the Urdhrin, as well as the Mogu, the Tol'vir, and what's that other race?
The Valkyrie, not the Vikrul?
Vikrul, yeah. Into humanoid, into flesh and bone. But there are, in the WoRcraft 3 manual, it's stated that there's 5. We haven't met them all. No.
Well, we know of 4 pretty solid ones. Because we know Sithun, right? We know Yogg-Saron.
Technically, we only know 3 really well.
Well, yeah, because we've never encountered Inzoth.
Yeah.
But he's talked about in... Is it in a novel or is it in-game?
He's talked about in-game and in novel Inzoth. He, if you do Dragon Soul, your Saj and Warlord Zondas are talking about Inzoth. And, also the the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron, the archaeology item, as
Right.
well. Whispers about him, but the question of the hour is, who exactly are they?
That's true. That's true. Because they're not, according to some, they're not native to Azeroth. The elementals are native to Azeroth, but there is some writing that says the old gods came here.
Well, and you also have to, like, overall, their goal is to create chaos and maddening torment, but they also want to GTFO of their prisons that they've been put into. Because, like we said, the Titans couldn't kill them, so what they did
Right.
was they destroyed their citadels that they had created, and then chained them far beneath the surface of the world.
Right. Now, officially, though, in-game, we, adventurers, have killed Sithun and Yogg-Saron, right?
Yeah, those are the only ones we have touched.
And then, technically speaking, Yasharj, I don't know how to say that
Yasaj.
Yasaj is technically dead because he he's one that was supposedly slain by the Titans.
And
but
that
his
is
heart
how...
was then resurrected?
Well, okay, so we may as well discuss, like, you're probably listening and thinking, like, who are all these names and blah, blah, blah. So we may as well go through the lovely list of... So the first one we encounter in-game is he is an AQ40 on Courage 40 man. He was a vanilla boss and was considered, when he was first released, unbeatable until a few hot fixes later. Anyway, Cthulhu created the Karaji, the Mantid races. He sent them out to conquer the world in the War of the Shifting Sands, which was is slated about 1,000 years before the First War. In that war, he just basically wanted to decimate Kalimdor and take everything for himself, type thing. Thousands of years later, he reawakened and was prepared to, like, imprison any dragons that came into his lair. And we go in and we do defeat him. We kill him.
Yes.
However, later on, during the events of the pre-Cataclysm in the comics, you see there was an attempted resurrection by Cho'Gall, which is stopped by the person we all love to hate, Madan. Now, the next on the list is Yogg-Saron, or the Fiend of the Thousand Faces. So he's imprisoned under the Titan City of Ulduar. FYI, best raid ever. Just ever. Ulduar. I love it. Anyway, what he manages to do, because there's watchers that are placed around him. Those are the guys that you have to defeat, and then there are the keepers along the middle that will help defend you. And that's where the whole achievement, Yogg-Saron 25 man, 0 lights, comes from. Not talking to those keepers gets you that achievement. But anyway, he corrupts them, and as a result, he's almost able to break out of Ulduar. He is the one that is responsible for the Curse of Flesh.
Now, and a note on that is, and I'm if you said it, I apologize, but the beings who are guarding over Yogg were put into place by the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's something to note, is that Yogg is strong enough to turn beings created by the Titans from guards over him to allies of him or servants of him.
If you're flying through Northern and leveling through Northern as well, you'll notice, like the Timber Maw up there. I don't know if that's like their actual name up there in Grizzly Hills, but you'll notice this like ginormous tree just thunk on the ground, and that was a world tree, Vordrasil. And it was corrupted, and the source of the corruption is believed to be Yogg Saron. Yogg also possibly, because when you fight him in Ulduar, you encounter one of three visions. One is the creation of the Dragon Soul. The other is the murder of King Lane, Varian Rin's father. And then the other one is the Lich King, the tie to the Lich King. So it's believed he has some sort of corruption value in all three of them. And Yogg Saron even says he will learn no king rules forever, only death is eternal. And to further tie into the Lich King, Serenite is the black blood of Yogg Saron, and you mine Serenite ore in Northrend. There is mines, if you go look around near Icecrown, that are full of Scourge, and they are all mining it. The Scourge weapons are made from this. The Scourge buildings, including Icecrown Citadel, are made from this. And it drives those that are repeatedly exposed to it just crazy. We do go into Ulduar and we defeat Yogg Saron, and as a result of doing that, we essentially cleanse Ulduar, in a sense. Another one we did say was Unzoth, who we do not see at all in the game. We see mentions of him, and like I said, in Dragon Soul by certain bosses, but he's likely imprisoned beneath Azeroth's oceans. It's believed he's responsible for the spark that started the Emerald Nightmare, and he possibly turned Ajara and her kin to Naga when they first were drowning in the ocean with the Well of Eternity.
Something to build off of that as well is that he was essentially at war with Yogg Saron and Sethun for a very long time prior to the Titans showing up. And so there's something to be said about him versus two others. Does that mean he's more powerful? Does that mean he has better allies? How can he fight two of them? You know, just something to think about. If we're eventually going to see him in game, might he be more powerful?
If you look at Bashir, look at all those minions of the old gods that you have to go around and fight in Bashir. That's kind of a big hint there. They look like buildings, but they're actually minions of the old god. They're living creatures.
Yeah, that's true.
And what Agrar said in chat as well. Yeah, it was Grizzlepaw, not Timbermaw. Sorry. But
Gotta love those grizzle paws.
the other one we did say is Yasarj. And we said slain by the Titans. Yeah, their heart was buried deep within Azeroth. Yeah. And then when they died with their dying breath, they cursed the land to be covered in the Shah. So that is where the Shah come from, is Yasaraj. His heart was later unearthed, as you saw in the Veil in the Siege of Orgrimmar cinematic, for the launch of that patch, that it's unearthed by Garrosh. And Garrosh brings it down into his den, and the Klaxi follow, because the Klaxi worship Yasaraj. When you defeat the heart of Yasaraj, you actually knock the sense back into the Klaxi, in a sense.
Yeah.
But, it was partially resurrected, but they weren't able to do it. There is, the corrupted gore howl. Starts with an X, the name of the weapon. I can't remember it. Zonoth or something.
I don't know the name of it either. Not off the top of my head, at least.
But if you're using it and you go kill the Shaw in what is it, Shaw of Pride, and then you go kill Yasaraj while wielding that, you get whispers to your character. I don't remember exactly what it is said, but I know that happens. And like I said at the beginning with the WoRCraft 3 journal, we do potentially have more. Like, there was 5 listed, but they weren't all named. And we've only discovered the names as we've gone on. Now, the key thing with these guys, like I said, is they want chaos and destruction wherever they go. And because of the old gods, the Titans, when they left, they're like, well, we need people to watch over this. So they had Loken watch over it, as well as gave the powers to the aspects, the dragon aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where it gets interesting. Because of that, it kind of signed up Netharian, who later became Deathwing, to his own demise. Netharian became corrupted, like he was giving the power of the depths of the world to be able to listen to it. What's in the depths of the world but the old gods? And Netharian became corrupted by the whispering of them. He creates the Dragon Soul, becomes Deathwing, and is driven mad by this, like, Malagos is against you. Like, Alexstrasza wants to have dominion over you, and all this crap. And Nozdormu knows you're lying. All of this. And he was made to turn against his friends.
And it's good to know... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, was made to, like, essentially set up to fail.
Yeah.
Like, turn against his friends.
It's good to note here, right? So we view the dragon aspects as fairly powerful. And well, no, yeah, not anymore. But they were. But over thousands of years, it's proven that the old gods are even more powerful than the dragon aspects.
Well, it did take him quite a while.
Yeah.
He wasn't... Plus, like I said, he's dominion over the earth, so he hears everything.
Right.
And feels it as well. I think it's Day of the Dragon or something that it's Deathwing talking with Ronan, and he said, "You would be crazy as I am if you had to listen to every groan and cry that this earth gives." But
and it's interesting because we're talking about the hearing the whispers of the old gods, right? Mm-hmm. Which is detailed in depth in Thunder Bluff, in the scrolls that tell the history of Thunder Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
Because they part of their history is the story of some of the Torn becoming corrupted by the whispers that were coming up, and it affected the Earth Mother, etc. So,
that's the same with like the Blood Elves, like the Quel'Dorei. When they touched on the Eastern Kingdoms in Tirisfal, it's believed that they heard the whisperings of an old god.
Yep.
So, but the old gods did do more. About 10,000 years later, after the Dragon Soul, the old gods, and this is where the book War of the Ancients comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
The old gods invade Nozdormu's realm, which of course he controls all the timelines. They open a rift and throw a bunch of beings back in time to stop what happens in the War of the Ancients and help Sargeras into Azeroth. Nozdormu, in his infinite wisdom, throws Ronan Crassus the Red Dragon, who was rather mate to Alexstrasza. He is now deceased. And Broxagar the Orc, and threw him in there, and they just like pooped all over that idea. And it's like it's really interesting how much they are intertwined into everything that's happened. Like, if it weren't for them, so many little things we wouldn't have Deathwing. And if we didn't have Deathwing, we wouldn't have Malagos going insane. Then we wouldn't have the Nexus War, and then there wouldn't be so much from that as well.
Yeah.
But in the same retrospect as well, we wouldn't have the aspects in the first place if it weren't for the old gods. We also wouldn't potentially have the Curse of Flesh, and thus wouldn't have all these mortal races.
Right.
We would probably just still be Earthren, and it would only be the basic races. What? But, like, it's, like, even the Emerald Dream turned into Nightmare, the Altering of the Time Ways, the attack on the Twilight, the attack, like, of the Twilight Dragonflight, the construction of a monster out of, like, what Blackmoor did, the Twilight Cult, all of that was the Old God's fault. And Hour of Twilight, so the last patch in Cataclysm that dealt with Dragon Soul and all those instances, as well as the book leading into it, was Deathwing trying to fulfill an ancient prophecy by the Old Gods.
Right.
All aspects dead, Azeroth in chaos, and ruled by the old gods. Now, and that was hinted at to be like our end time type thing. But,
Yeah.
myths happen, and then crafty little Rathian tells us that the true end time, possibly with the future invasion of the Burning Legion.
Yeah.
Thanks for the heads up there, Rathian.
Rathian, he's so helpful, right? He's like, hey guys, guess what's gonna happen? Dog. Real quick, I just want to jump in here, and Uthgrad brought up a good point. So how was the Earth Mother not corrupted by the old gods? And, that's a good question, because if she was more powerful than the old gods, she wouldn't let what the old gods did happen. On the other hand, if she was less powerful, she herself would have been corrupted, and in turn would have probably corrupted the Tauren even more. So that's a question I'm going to have to think about a little bit, because, and it's one of those things, I guess.
And for the other races, I'm not 100% on that. Like Tauren, Troll. What you don't even put Draenei into the equation in this when we're talking about the old gods, because they're not from Azeroth.
Right.
They're from Argus and moved to Draenor.
Yeah.
They're tied in with the Burning Legion.
I mean, I think you'd still have Tauren and Trolls if you go by their individual and Night Elves, their individual histories, if you believe what they have written about themselves. Because, I mean, it's hard to say, do Tauren come from something else?
Well, and that's the other thing. As far as I know, there's nothing in the lore that says, like, this is where Tauren came from. You read War of the Ancients, and you see that there's dwarves and Tauren helping the Night Elves, so obviously they're alive. Dwarves came from the Earthren, and humans came from Vikrill.
And the gnomes came from the gnome things.
And, but a troll went to the waters of the Well of Eternity and then turned into a Night Elf.
Yep.
Sorry to shit on all and rain on your parade, Night Elf players, but you come from trolls.
Just
if
saying.
it makes you feel better, me as a blood elf, I come from you, so...
Yeah.
And I hate your guts, so...
These are all true statements.
Yes.
And, well, and another thing to know about the old gods is, you know, we use the term old gods as being a very specific set of 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Though we only know of 4 by name, but 5 has been mentioned. But there's also been talk that the old gods is also a larger group of beings, also maybe demigods or lesser gods that fall into this old god. So even though we know of 5 specific ones, there's also a possibility of lesser ones.
Well, they're considered minions.
Well, yeah, but if you look
Is
at
the key thing.
but if you look at some of the writing that's out there, old god is a term that's also been used in reference to these minions. So I'm not saying that these are also gods such as what Yogg-Saron is, or what Sithun is, or any of those other ones are. But understand that if you see the term old god, it may not always be referring to the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because the term itself has been used in other ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because, yeah, no, we do have, like, demigods and whatnot. Like, Cenarius.
Yeah.
He's a demigod.
Yeah.
Alun.
Gotta love those demigods. Pimp.
Malorn. Like, if you do the quest lines in Hyjal, you see all the little demigods.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're the guardians of Hyjal. Aviana, Malorn, Cenarius.
And another thing to know...
Logosh.
Who?
Logosh.
Oh, Logosh. Another thing to know is that these old gods had citadels.
Oh, yeah.
That were destroyed by the Titans. So we look at them and we see monsters, right? But at one point in Azeroth's history, they were the creme de la creme of the world.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry for you guys that aren't watching the live stream version, but here's a artist rendition of Cthulhu's Citadel.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very pretty. I'd probably live there.
And that was in the very beginnings of Azeroth.
Yeah.
That was when she was still primordial and everything.
You know, way back in the day.
Back in the day.
Oh, and another thing that we haven't even mentioned is that it was the old gods that took control of the elementals.
Right, yes. Because of them, they corrupted a lot of the elemental lords. Like, some of them did break free. It's remarkable that Therazane broke free from the corruption when she is in Deep Home, which is so down there in Azeroth.
Yeah.
And she, as far as we know, has no corruption. Alakir sided with, what was it? With Deathwing. Neptulon told Deathwing and the Naga to go F themselves, but he kind of got kidnapped.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
They never finished that storyline.
Well, no, because it was supposed to be
in
bigger. There was supposed to be a raid down there.
There was supposed to be a raid in the Abyssal Maw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so happy there wasn't. I'm sorry, I hate Bashir. And then, of course, the main one, Ragnaros. He was corrupted.
Right.
And we have the old gods to blame for that, and for some dwarves picking away at the mountain to piss him off.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't piss off an elemental lord.
Now, next week, just to kind of let people know, we're going to be talking about the Titans and what the Titans did as they can, their part in the development of Azeroth. That's why we're not kind of continuing on with the story this week, is we're just, the focus is just on the old gods, and next week is about the Titans and what they bring to the situation. Mm-hmm. Because, once we bring in the Titans, so much changes because they're huge.
And fair warning for that episode, it's going to be a crap ton of speculation.
Oh yeah,
because there is so little information on the Titans. Like, the most we know about is Sargeras, who is a Titan, because he's the leader of the Burning Legion. That's about it.
And as Will says in chat, he will always remember the Titans.
Oh God, groan! I do have to say one thing really quick. Big thank you to Novel for helping me get all this information together. I was throwing questions at him on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
And for those of you that do not know who that is Novel on... He is a YouTuber, he streams, he's on Twitter, and he is he's an encyclopedia of lore. A walking encyclopedia of Warcraft lore.
Do you have his Twitter handle so people can follow it?
So he is at capital NOBBEL 87. So Novel 87. And like his bio says, I make videos for YouTube, Warcraft or Let's Plays, and whatever I feel like uploading. But yeah, big thank you to him, because it was him that brought up the Lich King points of the Serenite and everything, and I was like, oh, that's right!
Now, is he the one that makes the lengthy lore YouTube videos?
Yes.
Okay. Because I have I've watched a couple of those, I believe, and they're fabulously fun.
Yeah, his top 10 creepy stories in World of Warcraft. I was looking at this. I was like, what? What?
What?
I didn't know. I was freaking out because there's Darkmoon Fair ghosts on Darkmoon Island that are really morbid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can only see... It's those little... Have you ever noticed on Darkmoon Isle, there's those little, little pixie dust, blue and green clouds floating around?
Right.
If you were dead, you would see a NPC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm going to have to maybe go play with that.
Yeah, I had fun doing that. That was interesting.
Okay. So have we've covered a fairly decent amount of the old gods and who they are, yeah?
Mm-hmm. That's the TLDR version.
Yeah.
That's
And
for sure.
well, and anybody that's gone through Cataclysm, you've seen Cho'Gall, right?
Oh yeah.
Who was a big Cthulhu fan, big fan. He had all his posters hanging up in his bedroom.
Well, and the other thing with that is, because the Twilight Hammer was obsessed with end times and the Hour of Twilight and everything, and they wanted to do the same thing that Cthulhu wanted to do, which was bring destruction and chaos to the world.
Which is always nice. a bit of destruction, a bit of chaos. Put it all together in a big pot. Happiness and joy. Or maybe that's just me. All right. Let's keep moving on, and I hope you've enjoyed our little discussion on the old gods. Next week, like I said, we're going to be talking about the Titans. Don't worry, the podcast isn't over yet. Next week, we're talking about the Titans. So if you have a question about the Titans, make sure you tweet at the LoreCraft, and if you can, put in hashtag crafty question or crafty questions, and we will go ahead and respond to those questions next week. Or if you have questions about this week. Or if you don't have Twitter, you can email us at machik@thelorecraft.com. So
and you got to make sure the crafty is CRAFTIE.
Yeah, because that other crafty is all about crafters who do crafts, which is weird. Who does that? Me, maybe, but still.
Not me at all. It's not like I have a closet full of different craft supplies.
Exactly. All right, let's hit our next section, which is this.
Questions and answers.
And as I was saying, all of those questions that we get via Twitter, we like to talk about here on the show. Now, this week we only have one question. It's not a real question because we didn't have the hashtag crafty questions in it, but it was a question that I thought was apropos to our discussions over the past couple of weeks. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to bring this into our questions and answers segment. So, without further ado, this question comes from somebody who's actually in our Twitch stream chat right now. This is at Will Seiler. For those that don't know, he's a co-host of Saturday Morning WoW podcast, which is a podcast that I just learned about and started listening to today, so I'm excited about it. But what he tweeted was, at the LoreCraft, just jumped into episode 29 after listening to At Realm podcast. Since then, it was said WoD, so Warlords of Draenor Archimonde, does not equal BC Archimonde. So, how can player warlocks summon their unique main universe minions in the alternate universe? Good question, right? Because you and I we've talked about the main universe versus alternate universe. And when we talked about Archimonde at the time, the belief was that
We did also touch on the warlock pets a little bit of how, like, because they all have the same name no matter what.
right. But the question is, right, if the alternate universe Archimonde is not the same as the main universe Archimonde, how are we summoning a demon from the main universe into the alternate universe when it's been said that they're two different beings?
But they're not. They're the same being. The only thing is a demon has to be killed in the nether in order for them to die.
Okay, so is the Archimonde we killed in alternate universe the same as the one in main universe?
Yes, but he's not dead.
Right, but there's been some tweets out there from some peeps who are saying that they are not the same. That the Archimonde we killed is not the same Archimonde as main universe Archimonde.
Huh.
So and if, you know, again, this is what happens with, you know, timey-wimey stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
When you start playing with time and alternate universes, these kinds of questions come up, which I thought was a brilliant question, by the way. Are these demons that we're summoning, if you're a warlock, the demons that you're summoning in the alternate universe, if they have the same name as the ones when you summon them in the main universe, it shouldn't be possible because it's not the same demon. Oh, the excitement and it's cool.
I'm trying to, like, fully wrap my brain around it.
Right?
But no, like, because the tweets that I read were the same, and this was from one of the people on the historian team. They were the same, but because they weren't killed in the nether, they didn't die.
So then the question comes in, is why does this Archimonde not know how to kill us after we've already fought him once?
Because the alternate timeline takes place right after the First War. So the alternate timeline is like 28 years ago from present day.
So why didn't the later Archimonde kill us because he had already fought us in this universe?
I don't know, ask Nose Dormu.
Oh, man.
That's like the best answer I come up with is like, ask Nose Dormu. Or if you're going to BlizzCon this year, Go try and find Sean Copeland and ask him, because he's not on Twitter anymore, and that makes me sad. Or Bug Nobble. Go Bug Nobble with that question.
Well, it's a good question, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm
thinking, I'm like, I am at a complete loss. I don't honestly know.
No, I know. Well, and that's why I want to thank Will for posing that question, because it's actually, I think when he put it
it's a stumper.
Yeah, I think when he put it on Twitter, it was more of a, haha, this is kind of funny. But then I actually started thinking about it. I'm like, that's a toughie. I don't have an answer for that. So something to think about over the next week. Those, same demon, different demon. If they're different demons, why don't they have different names? What is it about the chicken pot pie? These are all questions that we want to know about. So yeah. So that was the only question we had this week. Miyagi did not grace us with a question this week. I was rather saddened, nor did he grace us with an email. But I venture to guess that Miyagi will be back in the future. So for those that are just coming in on this podcast, Miyagi is somebody who tends to tweet at us or email us pretty consistently week in and week out. So I had to name drop him. Though I will say that I have not seen the Chief tonight, so this is crazy. All right, so those are our questions for this week. Next, our next thing is this right here.
Oh, time once again for those reader emails.
And, of course, this week we have a total of 0 reader emails. Come on, people. I love you guys. Last week we had 2 reader emails. I was stoked. This week, I am now saddened that we have 0, zip, zilch, none, nada reader emails. If you have something to say to us, whether it's... I like that. If you have something to say to us, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, or you just want to mock us, go ahead and send us the email at machik@thelorecraft.com. Again, that's machik@thelorecraft.com, and we will read it on the air. Even if you merely want to make fun of my fuzzy beard, I'm willing to read that as well. So, just something to be aware of.
Yami makes no promises about mocking you back if you mock her, just saying.
I will probably not mock, but I will smile and giggle.
Alright. Just noticing in chat, Will made actually a really good point. I swear that there was a follow-up somewhere that said they weren't the same, because in another alternate reality, Kil'jaeden isn't a demon, as was mentioned on the show, if I recall. Yeah, in an alternate reality, they decided not to join the Burning Legion, and there's a possibility there that one was destroyed, or there's also the possibility that they did all flee with the Naru. Once you get into the timelines, you start understanding why it takes Nozdormu so long to form a sentence. I'm not kidding on that. If you read the books, the way he is written as talking is it takes him a really long time to speak. And when he speaks, he has, I want to say, almost sounds like it's portraying a lisp, but not really. It's just this really drawn out, I must ask you this question type thing.
Right.
It's really drawn out, and you start realizing why he's going insane and turns into Murazond eventually. Spoiler alert: Nozdormu is the reason we have the infinite dragonflight.
Good times. Great oldies. All right. Next up, I wanted to mention our story contest, which I realized I haven't mentioned in a couple of weeks, and I feel terrible about it. We are indeed holding a story contest that closes out at the end of this month. Due date is July 31st. The current theme for this month's story contest is summertime fun, all you have to do is head over to the LoreCraft.com/story contest, and you can enter to win. What do you win? Well, that's a good question. It's all based on what types of donations we tend to get over the month. If it's a lot, we tend to give lots of prizes. If it's a little, we give what we can. That means a lot to you as the player. So, if you are interested, head over to the LoreCraft.com/story contest and give us a story.
Because I don't know if you guys realize, but alms for the poor. I have to pay my WoW sub in gold. I'm so broke.
I wish I could do that with more things, like the hosting that we have for the website and the hosting for
Oh God,
for the podcast. If I could pay it with gold, that would be brilliant.
I had to cut back on my WoW subs. I feel bad because I used to be subbed to Novel on like Twitch and that.
On Twitch, yeah.
And now I'm just subbed to Trekkie because if I'm subbed to anybody else, it's like I don't have this money because I have to pay for this Twitch fee, Mumble hosting.
We'll see,
what
and
else?
and this is
PayPal.
why we should be able to do it via gold. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I wish.
One of these days, WoW will become reality. You know, once orcs actually enter our reality, and we have to fight them with swords.
That
and
would be
stuff.
horrible.
Oh yeah, I'd be bad. I'd probably be one of the first to die.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
I'll
"Hey
just
orc,
be
what's
hiding in
up?"
the corner. It's like if we had the zombie apocalypse tomorrow, I'd be like dead.
I like it.
Mainly because, like, I'm not the most fit person, so I died because I couldn't run. And then I'm allergic to penicillin, erythromycin, and sulfa drugs. I'm allergic to like 85% of the antibiotics out there. If you're allergic to penicillin, you're screwed. If you're allergic to 85%, you're dead. You're dead.
And that's gonna leave a bruise. All right, well, we are coming up on the top of the hour, which means it is time to pull our show to a close this week. I want to thank everybody that has listened this week. You guys are fabulous, and it's the reason that we continue to share our love for lore and roleplay with you. Again, next week we're going to be talking about the Titans, and would love to hear any of your questions or emails. So make sure you send them our way. Do you have anything to say to these fun, fabulous people that we podcast to here, Yamino?
Have fun in Azeroth, guys.
I like that. All right, guys, take care, and until next week, I get to do it this week. Stay nerdy. All right.
Added bonus thing. Go Midwinter!
They're still in, like, 5th, aren't they?
I know, I'm still...
I know. It'd be nice to see a U.S. team.
Jesus Christ, Method came out of nowhere.
They're destroying right now. 12 of 13. I don't know, though. Have they gotten to...
Well, when the Heroics were on, they weren't even in the top 30.
Oh, because they don't. What they do is they just continuously gear their tunes. So they don't,
Yeah.
they don't, none of the, like, Method, Paragon, none of those guys actually race until Mythic. All they do is gear.
Mm-hmm.
From Scratch is a new one, so it's nice to see them up there.
Yeah, French Sargeras.
Yeah, and then Rapid Eye Movement is another one that I've never seen anymore, ever seen before. So there's a couple of new ones in the race. You knew Blood Legion quit, right?
Oh, yeah.
They stopped raiding.
I heard about that whole thing, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
You guys have been at it forever, but vodka's back.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, it's interesting to see. You know, probably Method's gonna get it again.
I vote for Midwinter because Trekkie's not in Method anymore, so that was my go-to voting for Method was because Trekkie was in it. And then now I vote for Midwinter because Sloot is a Canadian. Much love to my Canadian brethren.
You know, it'd be nice if Midwinter did it, but they're in 5th right now, and... You know.
Well, to be perfectly honest, only one guild is 12 out of 13, and that's Method. Everybody else that's in the top 5 is 11 out of 13.
Well,
so
and Method got Manaroth before the reset, too, didn't they?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they did. They got it a day ago. So they're getting a second chance on Manaroth right now.
Mama.
Which is going to put them ahead. Had they not got it before the reset, totally different story. But they're essentially getting 2 chances on Manaroth, while everybody else will only have 1 this week.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. So it's a good race. It's exciting. But I think unless some sort of strat comes up for Paragon or one of the other ones that are in second right now, unless they think of a strat that Method does not have, Method should finish this out.
Yeah.
But it's been a nice race. It's been a long race, which has been a nice change. Because it dropped last Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that the race is still going, it's kind of cool. On a side note, Will, if you're still in here, thank you so much for that question. And P.S.
Oh, yeah.
Love the opening music for your podcast for Saturday Morning Wow. Totally going to be listening to that podcast now. So really excited about that. One of those geeks who does research on people when they talk to me on Twitter. So it's looking to be really cool, and it took me back to my days of Saturday mornings growing up. You've got to listen to the beginning of their.
Oh, nice.
What is?
Sorry,
this?
I'm looking at some of my. Ooh, nice. Congrats on them. I'm looking at my.
Okay.
Guild.
You know Muffinus, right?
No.
At Muffinus.
No.
Okay, he's senior designer at Blizzard Entertainment. Anyways, Will just mentioned that Muffinus stated, well, a question was assigned to him, then how can Sargeras, as a former Titan, transcend all realities? And Muffinus said he doesn't. And so, for example...
Hold on.
Oh, this is a good discussion. I'm glad you popped it up, Will. I'm looking at this tweet now, and it's like,
Oh yeah, I see.
If there is an AU Sargeras, then how can he corrupt the one and only Archimonde? There isn't. Remove that tweet. I was wrong. Tweeting too late at night. So wait, you're saying there's only one Sargeras or multiple versions of them? Every universe has its own pantheon, but different Titans? They're like brother. Oh my god. See? Straight up confusion.
Uh-huh.
Wait a minute, Will, you get up at 7 a.m. to record that show? Whoa, that wow. Makes me want to listen to it even more now. Oh. Oh, I love, see, I'm telling you, this X-Pack should be retitled the Confusion X-Pack. Oh, Chief shows up. He shows up after we finished. Darn you, Chief. Good to see you, though.
Chief, you have failed me.
Oh, it wasn't you just being silly. Okay, because I felt, Twitter can do that. When I read it, I was like, oh, that's funny. So that was a good question then, Will. Totally with you. And be careful. Chief calls everyone silly. That's what chiefs do. Chief, where were you? We missed all your chiefiness. Warlords of Confusion. I like that. That makes me feel good on the inside. Oh, man. This is a good week. I can't wait next week when I'm not trying to work and do this.
And scramble to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had a lovely, lovely work this week. I could, like... No, so my boss, so normally at work we have 3 people when we're training a new person so that everybody can get their stuff done.
Right.
So, not this previous Tuesday, but, or not Tuesday, Monday night, Tuesday morning, last week, I'm alone with the new guy. I'm in the back in the kitchen. I got jack done in the kitchen. Like, I got a bit done, I got the dishes, and I swept them off. And cooked a tiny bit. That was it. Him up front, I ended up doing all of his work up front. And then I found out this Friday, I got yelled at and was sent home essentially, like, crying. Because I got yelled at that much.
Well, that's not good.
And then I found out on Friday when one of my coworkers, because one of my coworkers who works in the kitchen as well, and the new guy was up front, he got absolutely nothing done. He didn't get cooking done, didn't get kitchen, dishes done, nothing. He never got yelled at. So I know now that I'm being singled out. At work. And I'm like, I can't wait till you leave. My boss is leaving next month. We're getting a new manager.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, bye. 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 Goodbye. Like, can't wait.
I'm getting a new manager next year. Well, new president of the college, but we'll call that a manager.
But no, I can't wait till October. I'm planning on moving an hour and 45 minutes away into another city, bigger city.
Nice.
So, more opportunities, and there's a university there, so maybe I'll take some classes. That would be nice. But I'll also be closer to Elandria.
Where's Landria?
Elandria Belori. If you notice her, she has an NPC in Ashran.
Ah.
In the actual battle part area.
I would have to go into Ashran to see that then, wouldn't I?
She's a blood elf in there. And she's considered the WoW mom on Twitter.
Oh, gotcha. I have absolutely no desire to go into Ashran.
Oh my god, it was amazing the other day. We just went in and wrecked.
I'm pretty good, chilling in my garrison, watching my ships float away and things like that. I sent my ships on a mission today that only had an 81% chance of success. So I'm really hoping it succeeds. Because if not, I'm going to cry. All right. Well, I got to get running because you know that I got to be up way too darn early tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
All right, peeps. You are fabulous this week. We'll be back next week. Actually, you'll probably see me streaming this weekend on my dwarves. But we will be back next week. And the actual podcast probably will not go up till Saturday.
Yeah. I'm going to be streaming immediately after this at twitch.tv /Yamino here. I'm typing it out in chat. And I'm just going to go AFK real quick, do a quick AFK, and then I'm going to be right back in it. I might be streaming WoW, or I might just be streaming what I'm doing on Photoshop for a little bit before I go on to WoW. So
she'll be streaming dancing chickens, and you'll enjoy it.
I'll probably be leveling my paladins more. Maybe the Draenei. We'll see.
I just read that as I'm going to go do my tanning dailies, and I'm like, why does the chief have to tan?
He needs to keep that sexy physique.
Did sexy. All right, all. Take care, and see you on the flip side.